and it's the week beginning the 31st of October 2022. Now, by the time you watch this video, it will have changed month. It will be, that's right, it will be November. But we've just had a long week off, haven't we? Did you have fun? Oh, I hope so. Me? Oh, thank you for asking. Yep, it was okay. But we're back at school, and like I said, by the time you watch this video, our language of the month would have changed. We're going to get on with the routine though, and just think about it still being October. So are you ready? Okay. I can see that the long hand, which is that's right, the minute hand is on the 6th. And I know that means, you're right, past. But I can also see that the shorthand, which is this one, is pointing in between the 2 and the 3. And I know altogether that makes, well done, 2:30. Now, like I said, it's October still when I'm making this video, but by the time you've started watching it, it's probably going to be November. And the lovely Mrs. Turner will be saying goodbye to bonjour and French, and she will have a different language. But you know what? I'll let you into a secret. Shh, I don't know what it is yet. You probably do. I'm going to count to 3, and I bet you after the number 3 you'll all be able to say it, not shout it, but say what our language of the month is. 1, 2, 3. There you go. I don't know what it is. How exciting. But I have changed our Makaton sign, and you might be able to guess what our Makaton sign might be. Our Makaton sign, there's a bit of an action one here. All right, we're going to have to, ready? We're going to move our fingers upwards like this for fire. Our Makaton sign is fire. You do it. Fire. Now, why has Mrs. Lee asked us to do the action of fire? You might have already guessed. Because we're going into the beginning of November, every year on the 5th of November, lots of people around the United Kingdom celebrate something called Bonfire Night. In fact, your grown-ups might have said this rhyme to you. Remember, remember, it's called. Remember, remember the 5th of November, gunpowder treason and plot. I see no reason why gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. I don't know if you can see, but this drawing here is of a man, and he is completely dressed differently to how maybe your dad or your uncle or your granddad dresses nowadays. Because this man was alive in the 16th century. That's many hundreds of years ago. And he lived in the United Kingdom, and he is the reason for why we sometimes build bonfires, but definitely probably have fireworks going off nearby us. You might need your headphones on. Now, if you come and have some lunch in the hall, Mrs. Lee has left out all the books about something called the Gunpowder Plot and Guy Fawkes. Guy Fawkes is the man who they caught, along with some other men, who decided that they didn't like the king who was on the throne. Now, we've got a king. Our king is called, do you know? That's right, he's called Charles III. But when Guy Fawkes was alive, there wasn't a king called Charles III. The king was called James I. And Guy Fawkes and his friend, have a look at that. That's a really lovely etching. Shows you all the men. All these men here, they did not like the latest king. They did not like the king. They did not like what he believed. And they decided that they were going to get rid of him. And that's where the gunpowder comes in. This is a very short little story here. So there was a man called James I, like I said, and he was crowned the King of England. Oh gosh, look at his fancy clothes. Pantaloons on. He's got his sword. Got some medals around him. And lots of the men in those days, you like to have little beards. Wear big hats with feathers in them. Now, there were many Catholics in England, and they were cross. And some of them had an idea. They wanted to get rid of James I. Can you guess what their idea might have been? Now, this building here is a building that you can still go to today. So even though it was built hundreds and hundreds of years ago, it's still standing. Does anybody know what it's called? That's right. It's called the Houses of Parliament. And these men, these Catholics here, didn't like James I, and they decided that they were going to blow up Parliament on the 5th of November when he was opening it. And they decided to do this with something called gunpowder. They got lots of barrels of gunpowder, 36 barrels all in all. That's a lot of gunpowder. And they hid it in the Houses of Parliament, down in the cellars, which were underneath the floors. Wow. There was somebody who knew about the plot, and they decided that it wasn't a good idea, and they split. They told their secret. They shared it. And they told the King's men, and the King's men came along and they stopped Guy Fawkes. Now, Guy Fawkes was actually in the cellar at the time. That was his job. His role within this whole scheme was he was going to light the powder, the gunpowder. The gunpowder was tiny, tiny, tiny little bits, and he had made a trail. And he was going to light the trail, and then it would, I don't know if you've seen it in films before, and it would light up and go along, burn, 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 and then explode. Now, the King's men stopped the plot, and Guy Fawkes was captured. And they took Guy Fawkes away, and they did some terrible things to him to make sure that he would tell them all about the other plotters. And in the end, he gave all the names up, and all the men were captured and imprisoned. And then they were killed. Because back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, that's what happened if you tried to kill the king or the queen. So all the men in this story, it's a true story, were captured and killed. And James I, he wasn't blown up, and he was able to open up Parliament later on. And he said that he would mark the occasion on every 5th of November going forward, that everybody should light bonfires and remember what could have happened. So if Guy Fawkes had been able to light that little thread of gunpowder that would have gone all the way to the 36 barrels and blown them all up, they would have seen lots and lots of, well, we say fireworks, but a big explosion. Now, we don't want to explode anything, so we have fireworks, don't we? Now, in this book, there's lots and lots of pictures. There's James I, a lovely painting of him to show you what he actually looked like. And these books are all going to be out here, so when you come to have your dinner, you can come and have a look at them and find out more about why we celebrate the 5th of November. There you go. Lots of things happening then. It's quite an exciting time. I'm sure some of you have been out and about, trick-or-treating. I'm sure you've had a lovely half-term too, doing all sorts of things. Please come and find me and tell me what you've been up to. I'd love to know. And remember, if you did anything that was healthy, can you bring in a photograph and put it on our healthy selfie board? We've got a few pictures up there, but I think we need a few more. Right, you might also have noticed around the school there's lots of new displays because we're starting our new topic of toys. Did you enjoy bringing your toys in? I will enjoy seeing them, I'm sure. Right, lots and lots of things around the school. If you do go into the research centre and you are reading a book, or maybe you are colouring in some gunpowder plot pictures that you can have colour in, please make sure it's tidy afterwards. Right, children, I'm hoping that you have a lovely week. Remember the 7 golden rules. They are here to keep us happy and to keep us safe. Right, we're going to finish off with our school prayer. You can close your eyes, I don't mind. You can put your hands together, I don't mind. But I do mind if you don't join in. Come on. Help me to do the things I should, to be to others kind and good, in all my work and all my play, to grow more loving every day. Amen. Right, have a lovely week, children. Bye.